In today's video, we will go back in time to discover the most overpowered team in NBA history. But before we start, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. Without further ado, let's get started. The 2016-17 Golden State Warriors are now widely known as the greatest team to ever be assembled. They were coming off the greatest regular season ever and went 73-9. But as we all know, that historic season ended with them losing a Game 7 to LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Warriors knew that in order to defeat the King, they needed a little more firepower. So, on July 7th, 2016, they signed no other than Kevin Durant in the offseason, and as you would expect, it lit the world on fire, including Charles Barkley, who wasn't feeling the move at all. I was disappointed. I was disappointed like I was disappointed when LeBron went to Miami. Kevin is a terrific player. He's a good kid, but just disappointed with the fact that he weakened another team and he's kind of gravy train on a terrific Warriors team. Just disappointed from a competitive standpoint, because just like it meant more to LeBron to win one more in Cleveland, it would mean more to Kevin to win one more in Oklahoma than it would in Golden State. And former great Barkley wasn't the only person to feel that way. But enough of the chit-chat. Just how and why were the Warriors so dominant? Keep watching to find out. At the beginning of that season, the Warriors had a lineup of Curry, Klay, Green, and Kevin Durant. Now I hope you see why the basketball world went into an uproar. Golden State now had two of the greatest shooters of all time, one of the best defenders of all time, and one of the best scorers of all time. It was completely unfair. But let's take a deep dive into their roster as a whole. During that season, Curry averaged 25 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, while shooting 41% from 3 on 10 attempts per game. It was clear that the addition of KD didn't disrupt his game at all. While his scoring average did take a dip from the previous season, he was still just as effective. He continued to be a dangerous off-ball threat and used many screens to lose his defenders. His backcourt partner Klay Thompson didn't make it any easier on defense as well. He averaged 22 points while shooting 41% from 3 on 8 attempts per game. Klay was also one of the best defenders in the league at the time. He would normally be tasked with defending the opposing team's best players, and he did so at an elite level. Those two together made up the greatest shooting backcourt the league has ever seen. Now that brings us to Kevin Durant. He had no problem fitting into the Warriors system, and playing with two great shooters meant KD would not only get open shots, but could also perform more isolation plays. This resulted in the star averaging 25 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists while shooting 53% from the field and 37% from 3. He also showed great improvement on the defensive end and was a key reason why the Warriors' death lineup was executed so well. He averaged a career-high 1.6 blocks per game and proved to be more than just a scorer. And if that wasn't impressive enough, he did all of this while only playing 33 minutes per game. Due to large leads the Warriors were able to create, it allowed KD to rest more than your average superstar. The three were also excellent free throw shooters. The trio all shot 85% from the line, which is absolutely ridiculous. They were virtually unstoppable on the offensive end. But on the defensive end, Green more than helped anchor the defense. He showed he was the best defender in the league on many occasions. There weren't too many players who played with the intensity and passion that he does. He even led the league in steals with 2 per game, which is impressive due to the fact he mainly roamed around the paint and not as much around the perimeter. And on the offensive end, he was at his peak. Green averaged 10 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 assists per game. He operated as the Warriors' main playmaker and decision maker. The Warriors' versatility is what made them so special. Their stars didn't really have any significant weaknesses, other than Curry's defense, which was steadily improving around that time. Not to mention they had Iggy on the team as well. He was a high IQ player who was a fantastic defensive stopper. He made the right plays very often on offense and even shot 36% from 3 on 2 attempts per game. And Zaza was a very smart and physically big man who set hundreds of hard screens for Curry and Klay that season. So now you have an idea of just how great their roster core was. But now let's get into how they compare to the rest of the league statistically. First, let's start with their team defense. They had the second best defensive rating in the NBA, only behind the San Antonio Spurs. but they were first in both blocks and steals per game. So they were just as good defensively as they were offensively, which seems impossible. The Warriors' great communication and willingness to run through a brick wall for each made it hard for teams to consistently put up points on them. But putting up points against other teams wasn't a problem. They ranked third in three-point shooting percentage and first in field goal percentage, which showed how efficient they were as a group. No matter how far away they were from the hoop, they had players who could make those shots. Golden State was ranked number 1 in total points per game. They scored 115.9 points a night. They were also ranked number 1 in points off turnovers. So all in all, it's safe to say that they scored many different ways. Their juggernaut nature made them an unbeatable team. Even Green said that he doesn't think anyone would have beaten them at that time. To be quite frank with you, I still think we had the best team ever. Although we didn't finish and win a championship, I think that was the best team ever, until 2017. And then, I think that team took over as the greatest team ever. So, I think we still accomplished it. People take numbers and they want to put the numbers there and say the Bulls had 72 wins. We were the best team ever. I don't care what anyone says. I can't see anyone beating that 2017 team. Not even our 2015-2016. I can't see anyone beating that 2017 team. In the playoffs is where the super team separated themselves from other historically great teams. They swept the Portland Trail Blazers with ease in that series. Curry averaged nearly 30 points and added 6 assists and 2 steals per game. The series ended in the same result. They swept the Utah Jazz. Curry and Durant both averaged 24 points on very efficient numbers. Green even averaged 16 points and 7 assists while shooting 47% from 3. In the Western Conference Finals, they faced off against the San Antonio Spurs, and well, you guessed it, they swept the Spurs also. Curry averaged 31 points alongside Kevin Durant's 28 points, and they even both shot over 40% from 3 and well over 55% from the field. The Warriors were a problem. They went just 16-0 with their 2 superstars playing out of their minds. There couldn't be a team out there in history who could dominate an entire playoffs the way they did. Even Bill Simmons had this to say about the Golden State being the best ever. If you're talking statistical resume, number of good players on the team, style, ability to do all kinds of different looks who they're playing, Simmons said when discussing the Warriors team, they had Durant, who is one of the best 15 players ever. They had Curry, who is one of the best 25 players ever. They had Clay and Green. They had Iggy, who's going to make the Hall of Fame. They finished 83-16 that year. That's going to be a tough one to beat. Now the 16-0 Warriors had to go up against LeBron, Kyrie, and the Cleveland Cavaliers. And as you all know, they too came up short and were no match for Golden State. Even with LeBron averaging 33, 12, and 10, they were still defeated in 5 games. Kevin Durant was on another planet in this series. He averaged 35 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists while shooting 47% from 3 and 92% from the free throw line. But what really made the Warriors so special other than their superstars and great talent? The simple answer is ball movement. During that season, they averaged 30 assists per game, ahead of the second-place Denver Nuggets by 5 assists. It was truly beautiful to watch and observe the Warriors' offense make 5 or 6 great passes that always led to Curry splashing a corner 3. And what made this style of play so effective for them is that their whole roster was filled with high IQ players. Durant, Andre, Curry, Green, and Thompson all have phenomenal feel for the game, which made the ball movement look so smooth and second nature. Come playoff time, they didn't forget what had gotten them there. They once again led all playoff teams in assists per game with 28.2. Ball movement was a huge emphasis for Warriors head coach Steve Kerr. Green even recalled the first time Steve introduced them to that style of play. When Steve Kerr took over the job, I remember the first training camp. He's like, ball movement, cut, stop standing and waiting for the ball. I'll catch the ball at the top of the key, Steph on the wing, and is like, Steph, cut. And it's like, no dude, I'm supposed to pass the ball to Steph right here. And he said, pass the ball and move. Without the ball will find the hands of the people that are supposed to get the shots. Green then concluded. We all thought he was out of his mind. And then as we started to do it, you figure it out and you're like, yo, this is actually pretty incredible. Like, it's ball moving, screen, roll, it's ball moving. There goes the mismatch, but nobody's really standing. And that kind of stuff is where all this flow offense and all this stuff came. It's safe to say that Kerr's methods were very effective. In just his first year, the Warriors were second in ranked offense in the NBA. All in all, I think most people can agree that the Warriors overtook the Chicago Bulls' throne as the greatest team ever. If Kevin Durant stayed in the Golden State, it's no telling how many rings they would have won. But in the summer of 2019, KD would sign with the Brooklyn Nets, and, well, I know in the back of his mind he kinda wishes he was back in the Bay with the two Splash Bros. The Warriors just won yet another championship last season, while Durant and the Nets were swept in the first round by the Boston Celtics. But who do you think is the greatest team ever? The Warriors? Or do you still believe, even after watching this video, that the Chicago Bulls remain superior? Did you enjoy the video? If so, hit the like button and subscribe to NBA Swish for more amazing NBA content like this. Take care, and I hope to see you in the next one.